Schultz.
Hello, wonderful people. Welcome to the Skool Buddies live call. How are you all doing? How are you, Sean?
Living the dream, Dan. Living the dream.
Very nice. What about Evan?
Yeah, doing well, doing well.
Doing well. Tim?
Yeah, I'm positive at the moment.
Why at the moment? What happened? You want to share?
Oh, I'm trying to blend something together from language learning, and I find the right platform to combine my thoughts into action.
Nice.
Been a rocky and a tricky road sometimes because what's being advertised isn't what's being delivered.
Yeah, I guess we all experience that. And
Yeah, it's a learning curve.
yeah, exactly. How is this daylight saving time stuff affecting you guys? Because last week we said we could make a session on sleep. And this daylight saving time actually affects people way more than what we think. So before I share what I've learned from Matthew Walker, how do you guys deal with this daylight saving times? Do you find it good, bad? Would you rather do without it, or I don't know, you love it? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I never like it. I don't like switching forward. I don't like switching back. I wish they would just keep it, the same all year round. It throws you for a loop, and and then you have to adjust to it. I mean, you're forced to change rather than just going with the natural cycle of things. So when it gets dark early or whatever, like shift your day naturally.
What about you, Tim? You like it or not?
I don't care less really. It doesn't affect me. I just go with the rhythm of natural sunrises and the sunsets. That's predominantly my time zone.
So you're more like me. I guess it also depends, whether we are like employed and have a
Mhm.
network where we have to do with that time, or whether we're retired or self-employed where we're like doing more our own thing. Yeah. What about you, Sean? You like it?
It
No?
never used to bother me in the slightest, but as I'm getting older, I find it does affect me a little bit more. It takes a while to adjust and get used
That's
to it.
yeah, that's
It'd be
also
nice if
very
they just went for us, go half hour in the middle and say, right, that's it, job done.
that's also a very good point. As we get older, we're not as fast to adapt. This daylight saving time thingy, also some countries only change by half an hour. What's up with that? I mean, either do it or don't do it. So with Matthew Walker, Why We Sleep, what I've learned is from him that this is actually for them the world's largest scale experiment that they're running, or well, not running, but able to get data from every time when they change, 1 hour forward or 1 hour back. So now we change 1 hour back, which means we got to sleep. Well, for the ones who changed, right? We got to sleep 1 hour again. So at 3 a.m. here in Europe, they change it back to 2 a.m. So you get to sleep that one again, which means you get 1 hour more, right? And that can only be good, right? More sleep. But in spring, northern hemisphere, right? For down under, it's opposite. But in spring, northern hemisphere, when we jump 1 hour forward, so at 2 a.m., it's suddenly 3 a.m., we missed that 1 hour. What they found is that when we do that, heart attacks and traffic accidents go up by 20 to 25% because of that 1 hour that we slept less. And so that's really, not a good thing, right? Now we can say, okay, what happened yesterday when we changed? The opposite happens. It goes down by 20-25%. So we could say, okay, it equals out. No, it's bollocks, as we say here. So not a good thing in my opinion. Why even do that? I think if there's so many theories why they started this, introducing it, but I think it had something to do with when electricity came about and the supply was, like limited, that they thought if they do it that way, they could save some bottlenecks or something like that. I'm not sure if that's true, but what I do know is the European Union now has voted to get rid of it, abolish it, whatever it's called, and they're running. So everybody, well, no, not everybody, but the majority said yes, so they're getting rid of it. The UK, I don't know, because they left the European Union, but they'll probably follow it. I don't know. But now they're running tests for I don't know how many years to see how it will affect people and which time. I think they're discussing which time they should keep, whether it's the actual time or the moved by 1 hour time.
Doesn't that question then say, well, who invented the time numbering system in the first place? What was it before that happened? Even before electricity was in short supply.
Yeah, it was something to do with farming, wasn't it, as well? The daylight hours, farming culture.
Could have been. I don't know. I'm just asking the question. Could have been as far back as medieval days or enclosure days in whichever country you want to look at.
You mean when was it introduced?
The time. How did we come to point out? Oh, midday is now 12.
Oh, that
midnight is now 0.
Yeah,
How far back? And then you can expand that into religions.
Yeah, that's
philosophy.
way back.
Yeah. So if you're looking at the time thing, it's quite a big change because it's a cultural change with every different country, isn't it? As you say, for half an hour.
I just think it's crazy that the whole world pretty much does it in some form or fashion. You'd think that it wouldn't have really caught on worldwide like that. I mean, not like everybody does it, but if you look around the globe in every time zone, there are certain nation states that do it, and it's like, okay, well, I mean, was it just British colonialism, or what? How did it really spread? Just as bad as religion.
Well,
the other question I'll throw in then quickly is the calendar. Who invented the Julian calendar, Roman calendar, and whatever the other one was?
Yeah, Mayan calendar before that, I think.
Yeah.
But back to why does everyone do it or follow it in some form? One thing we need to consider: it's only the ones that are far away from the equator, north or south, right? The equator band, they don't need to do it because there's hardly any change. One thing I loved growing up in Kenya, we were almost at the equator, and so the sun rises at 6 a.m. and it sets at 6 p.m. It's always the same, and I really love that because it's so predictable. Nothing. You don't get used to, like here in Northern Europe, you get used to like long summer days, and then all of a sudden that goes backwards, and you have long nights, right? And so you constantly have to like adapt, and once you're like used to it, it changes again. Yeah. So shall we talk about sleep? What do you guys think? Would you like that?
How many people got narcolepsy then?
Say again?
Narcolepsy. A lot of people just instantly fall asleep. I don't do that.
Okay.
I could fall asleep on a clothesline, me.
Yeah.
Anywhere, anytime.
So you don't have a problem falling asleep at all?
No.
Is that why they say Is that why they say, what was the thing? Hold the line? Because in the Industrial Revolution, that's what you had to do, pay a penny to use the clothesline to sleep on.
Yeah. I like
To
that.
sleep on.
Yeah, did you know that?
No, explain. I mean, I can get
Well,
paid for it.
there were a lot of poor people around, and they couldn't have accommodation, and they couldn't really fall asleep on the road or the street because they might get robbed or killed or whatever. So there were establishments built, or renovated to basically just hang some washing line across the room. If you wanted to use it for a night's sleep, you had to pay a penny.
Yeah, I get all that, but what's the washing line got to do with it? That's the part I'm not understanding.
Narcolepsy and sleeping.
Oh, okay, I get it. Yeah.
I mean, we don't use that anymore as a
Of course.
an idiom level, but that's what we're talking about, isn't it? Where are you going to sleep, and what time are you going to sleep at? And the modern facilities we have nowadays, we don't need to go backwards; we need to go forward.
Yeah. Nice. Hello, Mindy. Welcome.
Hello. Welcome.
Hello.
How is everybody?
Doing well.
Doing good.
Talking about sleep.
What?
Yeah, we're talking about sleep.
Oh yeah, of course. Oh yeah, of course. I forgot about that. Well, that's not going good with me this week, so I'm not joining the conversation. Sleep
Well,
isn't good.
No, that's how we can, learn. We were just talking about how I didn't even prepare for this. Look at me. So we have a book, right, called Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. This is where I'm showing the book. So it's called Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. And Matthew Walker has become like a guru in that space because he initially wanted to do his, doctorate or whatever, 4 years study, but it became his life's work, and he's been doing this since for the past 20 years, I think. He's a English guy living in California, if I'm not mistaken. And so this book, I really recommend you read, whether it's, online version or physical, whatever, or Audible. Before I read that, I knew that sleep was important, but I never knew how important it actually is. And Matthew Walker also says it. It's not like, we have a pillar here called exercise and here nutrition and then one sleep. No, sleep is the foundation. Without sleep, everything else is useless. And basically, the less you sleep, the shorter your life. And which is funny because initially I started studying sleep because I wanted to get more deep sleep, but or actually optimize my sleep so I could get like an hour less sleep, but quality sleep. So I would have an hour more in my day to do stuff, right? But then what happened was the more I studied sleep is the longer I started sleeping because I realized how important sleep is and how much better you perform with adequate sleep. Yeah.
Oh, Dan, they do say that when red bus at a bus stop, a few more will arrive very quickly afterwards.
I didn't catch half of it. Say that again, please.
If you see one red bus at a bus stop, depending what time of day it is, you're bound to see two more with the same number on very shortly afterwards. So if you start reading a book about sleeping, there's a good chance that you'll fall into sleeping.
Yes, I see what you mean by that. So this applies to anything that we study. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Welcome, Mark.
Hey guys.
Hello, Mr. God Booker.
Somehow I need to switch views because three of you are showing as a green and gray blur.
Yeah.
Not Sean and Tim.
Not at my end. So I don't know if anybody else is saying that.
Maybe we're in the same time zone.
Let's see if I minimize that. Tell you what, let me drop out and rejoin.
That's cool.
Yeah, I
And
really
then-
need sleep. Yeah, like pretty much, yeah, same thing with all the other things in my life. Like it's the hyperthyroidism that like causes me where like don't eat, don't sleep, don't just always go. Like pretty sure that's gonna kill me like real fast. Like yeah.
Hey, I can see Evan's drum set.
Nice.
I took a
You got bongos too?
oh I play 7 different instruments. I got everything that you could possibly imagine. I got a cello,
Cool.
big giant stand-up bass. I got but yeah, and I took a page from your playbook. I was like, here, I want to be able to stand, and then I was like, actually, I can't stand, so I got like a couch right here that I'm sitting on. But I tried standing like the first day. I was like, man, I got to ease myself into this. But yeah, yeah, that's it. I guess.
Cool.
Seems like
Mark.
I'm having bandwidth issues. My camera's freezing.
Seems like it.
Yeah, no worries. You can have it switched off. Mark, we were or are talking about sleep today. So,
If it's gonna freeze, I might as well do poses.
So, how many hours do you guys sleep, Sean, about roughly?
Oh, I aim for 8 hours.
Okay.
I'd say probably get around about that most nights.
Yeah.
I could probably tell you because I'm on a CPAP machine because I get sleep apnea, so I've got to wear the breathing mask at night. So
Does that give you like? Does that give you like feedback of hours that you sleep and all of that?
Can do if I go back in the history, but the main thing that it's looking at is the obstruction in the airway and how much pressure it's needing to put in to make sure I'm adequately ventilated.
Okay, so Sean about 8 hours, Evan about how many hours, just roughly?
Somewhere between, it's either 4.5 or 6 or 7.5 or 9, but it's usually 6. I mean, but yeah, oftentimes it's 4.5. Sometimes it's 7.5.
Okay, let's say 6. Tim, about how many hours of sleep do you like average?
It depends on the 4 seasons and the light content obviously through the season. So it varies. With being in Italy and having so much sunshine during the peak summer period, it could be as little as 4 hours, and then in the winter it might be 10 hours.
Wait, Tim, is that because it's too hot at night to sleep?
Well, the sunshine is the one factor, and yes, definitely the heat is the second factor.
So I'm guessing. Wait, do you have air conditioning?
Not a conventional air conditioning. It's a basic fan, moves all the hot air around, and then
Right.
it
No,
disappears
that's not the same thing, of course.
It's not.
Yeah.
And then obviously I've got the doors and the windows will be open as well at night in the summer, even the front door.
Yeah, I remember a time, because I live, well, of course, as you know, I live in a similar climate, where back when we still didn't have air conditioning at home, this was, 25 years ago, and it was so extreme in certain summers, I had to sleep on the tiles.
Tiles, floor.
Yes, on the floor tiles.
They're the coolest, aren't they?
Yep.
The roof tiles wouldn't be an option, would it?
How many hours, Mark, do you get on average? About?
I would say anything between 6.5 and 7.
Okay, so around 6, 7, yeah. And Mindy, how much sleep?
I need 8. I function best if I have 8. I can just, everything functions normally. I can go with less, but if I do like a whole week of only 6 hours, then I just feel it that it's just not working properly.
Okay, so 7 would be like about the average that you get.
No, yeah, I try to, before school, yeah, No,
Okay.
before school I always had 8 because I just go to bed early. I just
Yeah.
like to go to bed early. But
Yeah.
the last months, no.
Okay, so to like recap, if I remember right, Sean 8, Evan 6, Tim about 8, 7, 8, and Mark, I forgot, about 6, 7.
6.5, 7 years.
Yeah. What we need to realize, this is what I learned from Matthew Walker, is when we talk about this right now, colloquially, is that what it is, or just in society? We mean when we go to bed and when we wake up, but that's not the amount of sleep we get. That's what is called a sleep opportunity window. From the time you go to bed till the time you get up, you have the opportunity to sleep. But it takes us time to fall asleep. Somebody's microphone is scratching. I'm guessing it's Tim's. It was Tim's. I'm sorry, Tim, I just muted you. I just muted the scratching. Okay, so Matthew Walker explains that it takes us time to fall asleep. It takes us time to wake up. And during the night, there's times we wake up that we know when we go, to toilet. But there is many times we wake up that we actually don't know. We think we're dreaming or something, but it's wake time. And so on average, for me, my sleep efficiency is 85%. This varies from person to person. And sleep efficiency just means what percentage of the sleep opportunity are you actually asleep. So out of 10 hours, I'm asleep 8.5 hours. Roughly 85% sleep efficiency translates to subtract 1 hour. So when, Sean said 8 hours, that's probably 7 hours of sleep. And when Evan says 4 hours, which is horror, then it's probably 3 hours, right? So yeah, that's the first thing to understand, right? When we are advised, oh, you should get like 7 hours of sleep. Don't think that's 7 hours in bed. You need more than 7 hours in bed to get those 7 hours of sleep, right? And like Mindy, when you say 8 hours, that is probably 8 hours in bed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, which gives you 7 hours, which is good. So Matthew Walker found that 6 is the minimum, and we're talking about sleep, not sleep opportunity. 6 is like the minimum. Better 7, even better 8. But to get 8 hours of sleep, that means you need to spend roughly 9 hours in bed to get that. And that, if you want to achieve that, the change has to be gradual. For myself, I'm coming up on a 1 year on school, and because I track my sleep since years with the Aura, I compared the year before school with the year on school, and yeah, the numbers show that I've been sleeping less, right? One interesting thing, though, is my sleep efficiency has not changed. It's 85% before school and after school. And so that is, for me, a very important thing that I've learned, because it basically means that I can totally, calculate, or let's say I can totally say if I want 7 hours of sleep, that 85%, I just need to add that for my sleep opportunity window. Yeah. So that's one thing I wanted to share about time in bed is not equal to actual time asleep. It's less.
I remember we had covered this topic several months back. It must have been one of the very first. Was it on Skool Buddies or another call?
It was on your call.
Oh, right.
It was on a Rapid Learners
Yes,
call.
yes. Back when Hengame was more active.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I mentioned that.
Cool. No, in fact, when I quoted my figure, it was including this time difference that you mentioned.
So for you, you spoke about actual sleep.
Yep.
Yeah, makes sense because we talked about that. Yeah. Another thing about our sleep is that it's completely affected by what we do before we go to sleep. And before we go to sleep, actually, is not just, like the last half hour, because, when I got started, it was like, oh, yeah, you shouldn't have screen time before you go to bed. So, like the last hour or half an hour or 2 hours, whatever people say, don't do screen time or use these blue light filters, which I used for a while. Yeah, that's only part of it. It actually starts with, for people who drink coffee, and many people do, right? The half-life of coffee is something like 12 hours, which means like after 12 hours, you still have half of the caffeine in your system. And so it's actually recommended that you stop drinking coffee like 6 hours before you go to bed or even more. That's one thing that can affect it. But then also eating food. And for me, I've figured out that I need 5 hours for my food to pass the most intensive digestion, right? Because in our stomach, that's where the big work happens. But afterwards, obviously, the digestion continues. So I try to stop eating 5 hours before I go to bed. That's my last meal. I didn't used to do that. So that also affects your sleep. And the wind down, when I used to think, oh, it is mainly the screen time that we have. On one of the podcasts, I don't know if you guys know Andrew Huberman. He is a scientist,
Yes.
right? Okay, so Andrew Huberman and Matthew Walker, they did a joint podcast where they went deep into sleep. I will attach those links to the replay post. And deep means like, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 episodes of like 3-4 hours each. So they really go deep into that. If you're interested and have time to watch that. I watched all of them at one point because I really wanted to know. And so there, one thing that came up is things to not do before sleep versus things to do before sleep, right? And so it was like a list of like 10 things. And at the very top, what is best for you to do before going to bed was precisely what I do. And I was so like chuffed, we say here, pleased that I did exactly that. And it's not what you would think. It's watching a bit of what I call mindless television. Something that you don't need to engage your brain, something that you're just falling for, for a bit of entertainment. Apparently that uses the least of effort for our brain, and we then can detach from what happened before that. Versus, I'm just going to say something, an argument with your partner probably is not good before you go to sleep, right? So if I don't do that, for me, it's an hour, at least half an hour, then I don't sleep the same. What do you guys do as a wind down routine is my question now. Sean.
It varies. Sometimes I'll read a book, sometimes listen to some music, sometimes I'll just lie there, relax, maybe pray. So yeah, I don't have a set, rigid, this is my routine. It does vary.
What happens if you don't do it? Do you then not sleep the same?
If I don't do it, I'll be honest, it tends to be because I've fallen asleep.
Nice. So in general, you are sleeping very well, I would say, other than the sleep apnea, right?
The sleep apnea, and I'm the opposite of Evan, so I've got a underactive thyroid, so that contributes to it.
What about your Evan? Your wind down routine? Sometimes it's out the window, I think, and other times it's good.
Yeah, no, I mean, pretty much go until I drop. Most times, sometimes I'll actually have a wind down period, but yeah, I mean, I do like my journaling and like the wrap up of my day and stuff like earlier on, like 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock, and then anytime after that is just like me time or whatever. And sometimes I'll fall asleep if I'm tired. I'll go to sleep early. Other times I'm like I just can't sleep. And I don't really like watching TV really. And so yeah, my mind's just always going. Like I said, it's like my metabolism, my mind, my everything. It just like feels like it's just like yeah, like even when I don't really drink coffee, I don't need to. I don't really do any kind of stimulants. I don't need to. My body just keeps going. And so, yeah, I mean, don't really have any kind of like real ritual. Maybe if I did, then it would be easier. But yeah, just kind of keep burning at both ends until. And I mean, like, and I can't sleep for very long either. It's like 4.5 hours. I wake up no matter what, and then it's like then I have to go back to sleep and go back to sleep and go back to sleep. I get 4.5 hours of sleep solid. Like I can't wake. Like if I go to sleep and I set an alarm before 4.5 hours, no way in hell am I waking up to that alarm. But then after 4.5 hours, yeah, then I'm like up and kind of restless. So.
The fast metabolism, I resonate with that. I think that changes a lot it changes things a lot if somebody has a high fast metabolism, because also in terms of coffee, I metabolize that coffee so fast, it then doesn't affect me the same way. What about you, Mindy? How do you wind down? You don't.
Yeah, well, I need to. If not, you don't fall asleep. My emergency method is I listen to audiobooks. So
Okay.
I don't do television or nothing. Nothing actually. But if I go to bed, I just turn my phone on flight mode and I have my book downloaded, and I put a timer of 15 minutes, and I never get to 5 minutes. Like the day after, I need to rewind back at least 10 minutes. So within the 5 minutes, I'm gone.
Nice. So you have a system that you know that works for you.
Yeah.
And I think that's also one important thing to, arrive at over time is there's so many different things that people say, oh, you should do this, you should do that. No, you should find something that works for you and learn from the other people, so you can pick and choose something like that. What about you, Tim? How do you wind down?
Well, the factor is it before I take my clothes off or after I take my clothes off? Because as soon as I start the motions of thinking I can take my clothes off, then I'm going into bed. And then I have a few, whatever time limits that there might be, I then do a lot of recall thinking about what's important and what's not important. And by the time I've gone through them, I'm probably so content with adjusting to they've gone, they've been done, then I fall asleep very quickly.
So generally also easy for you to fall asleep.
Yeah, I've cleared all my thinking processes, and then the next time I get up might be 4 hours later, bathroom, and then lately I've been processing the new Spanish language I'm learning.
This is interesting because from a different thing that I learned about, falling asleep, as long as you think happy thoughts before, or while falling asleep, that's how your sleep will generally turn out. But if we are not aware of, our rhythms and what we think, most people, they take negative thoughts that they think about, because during the day it's easy for us to like push things away, because we're like, conscious, and we're like, oh, I'm not going to deal with thinking about this now, or I don't care about this bill that came in or whatever. But then when we fall asleep and our mind is, for want of better description, like getting weak, right, then these thoughts will come up and we take them into sleep, which then obviously is not good for our sleep if we do that. So think happy thoughts, falling asleep results in good sleep. Mark, can you hear us? You look very frozen.
Yeah, that was from before. No, I can still hear you perfectly well.
Okay, cool. What do you do to wind down?
And first off, my winding down, and it's been challenged quite a bit over the last year, partly because, first off, the calls that I found myself on, some of them dragged on until 9, even 10 in this last year on Skool. That was mostly, I would say, from January till June or something. But then I realized I need to cut back on how long I let calls occupy the good chunk of my waking hours. In fact, I began saying to myself, regardless of how badly I want to be on most calls, I'm not going to stay on calls past 7 p.m. my time.
Yes.
Because then what happens is you start overlapping into things like dinner time, family time, and also winding down before heading to sleep. So this, for example, over here is going to be my last activity for the day in terms of being on screen for a prolonged time. Now, as soon as I'm finished here, I'm off to dinner straight away. Thankfully, we already have dinner was made yesterday, so we'll just be reheating some of that. Not much to do, at least on that front. So that will mean, but otherwise, if dinner hasn't already been made, then of course that's one way for me to begin my wind down. In fact, for me, when it comes to food preparation, it's actually quite therapeutic.
Very nice.
Uh-huh.
Very nice. I like all. Yeah.
Having around, let's say, mind you, I don't make a long affair out of it, because I mean, if at the time it's already 7 or approaching 7, then of course I don't want to eat very late. I mean, neither me nor my wife. In fact, our general rule at home is that by 7:30 we're already having dinner. So the rest of the time after that, we can either continue talking, which we usually do. And one other thing I'm doing regularly right now is heading out for a walk after dinner, with or without my wife, because sometimes if it's breezy outside, she'll tell me, oh, it's cold, I don't feel like going out. Oh, well, I have flyers to distribute and they won't distribute themselves, will they? So, yes, but mind you, most of the time she actually joins me. So we head out for an evening walk. That's a regular thing we do. And then by the time we're back, it's already 9:30 or so, which coincides with roughly the time that we tend to go to bed. By 10, we're both asleep. And by 5, we're up. And by 5, we're up again.
I like this very much, Mark, because it completely depends where we're at in, our journey about different things. So if we have, figured out our, wind down routine and how to get best sleep, etc., then the awareness of when we drift off from that is all we need to get back on track, right? So for Mindy, you shared the same. You know exactly what you need to do, and when you're not doing it, I know what I need to do, and I'm not doing it. And so just that awareness alone, I think, can help us to get back on track. So thank you for sharing that, Mark. And in regards of having too many calls, this is totally up to us, how much we take on.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yes, and just because, let's say, you began attending a set of calls, let's say 6 months ago, it doesn't mean that they're still relevant to you today.
Exactly. In also, actually, in regards to this whole getting better sleep, for some reason, it's probably not coincidence. Just a few days ago, I opened some PDFs from Tim Ferriss about how to get better sleep, right? And another one was optimizing time you spend on calls. And one thing he said is a meeting should not be longer than 30 minutes. There's no reason why a minute should be longer than 30 minutes. And so I've started making that a point. When I attend something that's like a meeting, I jump off after half an hour and I communicate that beforehand. And so, if anything needs to be talked about, it can happen in that half an hour because time expands to what we set it to be. It's called Parkinson's law. And so if we say, 1 hour for a meeting, well, then it takes 1 hour. If you say half an hour, it takes half an hour.
And
So
here you're only talking about the meetings. This can apply pretty much even to decision making.
exactly.
In fact, I ended up recording a video about that today.
Very nice. I just want to welcome Jack and Fabiola. Hey guys, first time you guys are on the call. Nice to have you. If you like, you can say a few words to introduce yourself. If not, you can also just listen in. We're talking about sleep this
I could
time.
say a couple words.
Go ahead. Welcome, Jack.
Hi, everybody. So my name is Jack Robinson. I'm from Montreal, which is in Canada. I've been on Skool for about 2 years, like a user. And then in February, I started my first group. And just recently, I'm starting my second group. Is the right place? And I'm having a lot of fun. I think Skool is the best. I'm actually at a university currently as a student, an undergrad, and I'm using that opportunity to see if I can create an actual university club that is tied to my school, because I believe in my school's mission that much that I think it would help university students like myself. So I'm going to see if I can make it into an actual official club.
Very nice. Go ahead and plug your community right here, because that's something we do. We'll then attach it to the replay post and send people your way. So what's your community called? That's before he went offline.
Sorry, it's called the Skoolyard. Let me find the link. Give me 10 seconds.
I think I already came across it. The Skoolyard. Wonderful.
Yeah, the Skoolyard. It's got like the little guy with the propeller hat as the logo.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So have I.
There you go. That's me.
Very nice.
So
We'll mention that.
Okay, nice meeting you, Jack.
Awesome. Nice meeting you guys. And obviously, it's $2 a month or $20 a year. If you want to pay that, awesome. But if you don't, you can DM me on Skool your email, and I'll invite you in for free.
Cool. Very nice. Thanks for that.
My pleasure.
Fabiola, can you hear us? Would you like to say a few words? You don't have to. You can listen in. No problem at all. That is fine. No worries. Let's continue talking about sleep. So we talk about wind down routine and how we have awareness about what we should and shouldn't do. What else do you think is important in terms of sleep? What
Yeah, I
is
mean, do you sleep in the dark? Do you have any light going on when you sleep? Do you sleep silent? Do you have white noise? What you guys got going on there?
Yeah, the recommendation is that it should be as dark as possible. You should go to bed hungry, and you should go to bed cold. So colder temperature, better sleep. Empty stomach, digestion, better sleep. Very dark, better sleep. And all of these can be, well, not all of them, but the darkness can be a challenge, depending on where you live. The summertime or up north where Mindy lives,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to get dark. The
I,
cold can be a challenge. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't have any issue with the light at all. I love it that it's not getting dark for 3 months, and
And
I
you
have
still
no
sleep.
issue sleeping with it.
Yeah,
I don't even have I have curtains, but I don't even close them at all. Never. I
nice.
used to even sleep in the garden because I did night shifts, and then I got home, so the dogs were alone all night. In the summer, I just slept outside in my. I had a pretty decent chair outside, like a swinging chair. I just grabbed everything and I just slept there outside, so the dogs could be in the garden the whole time.
Cool.
Yeah.
What about the heat? I think Tim and Mark can talk to that. When it's too hot, it's hard to sleep.
Yes, it can be extreme. In fact, one of the things I do during the summer is I'm forced to turn on the AC, but actually on dehumidifier mode, because that is what makes it difficult to sleep in our climate. Not the temperature itself, but the high humidity.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
I
I
struggle.
I think I
Yeah,
saw
go ahead.
Fabiola on mute a minute or two, but now she put herself on mute again. All right. I thought maybe she wanted to say something.
Yes, I saw that too. Fabiola, would you like to say something? No, maybe not.
Never mind.
Yeah. Do you? I'm still like in like the. Yeah, I mean, I guess I never grew up, but yeah, I mean, like, I'll sleep on the floor, I'll sleep on couches, I'll sleep in like in the car. Like, I give zero shits. Um, like, do you guys like have trouble sleeping unless you're in a comfortable position, kind of thing?
Oh no, I slept on rocks whenever I had to.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I like going camping. I like, yeah. I mean, went down to Austin the other day and slept like on Goose's floor. It was like super hard. But yeah, I mean, it's like that's not been a problem. And I also don't have any trouble going to sleep. I mean, I'm like Mindy, where it's like 5 minutes and I'm out. If I decide I'm going to sleep, then that's what's happening. I'm going to sleep. But yeah, I mean, I don't feel like I have any sleep issues, like other than the fact that like I don't do any of the things that you're talking about. I sleep in the light. I sleep on the uncomfortable things. I don't sleep enough. I yeah, I do everything wrong, but like I'm seeing fine. Like I don't know.
Can I just ask, would you like to share what is your age, Evan? How old are you?
I'm 37, and so I'm just now hitting that point where it's like, okay, I actually got to grow up at some point because I feel like I'm like my bones and my muscles and everything is like not giving me crap yet, but I feel like it's just like right around the corner at any moment. I'm just going to start falling apart. So, really starting to think about like, okay, maybe like you should listen to these people that are older and wiser.
Older than you. Thank you. It's
Yeah.
fine. Thank you.
But it's not just age, I would say. Evan, you train, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, so I stay healthy. You know, I mean, I do what it takes to stay fit and things.
All right. Any particular sports that you do?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like not regularly, but yeah, I mean, like I have played and will play and do play, tennis, basketball, soccer, anything that's not getting me like beat up. Yeah. I jog. Mostly I like Tai Chi. I like energy flow kind of things. As long as like the energy's flowing through me and I'm not all like then I feel like life is good. You know, if I find myself just like turning into like a, you know, golem or something, that's when I'm like, okay, I gotta stop working. I gotta get out of here. I gotta go do something. And that happens from time to time.
Because one thing I've noticed, in particularly about in unfit older people, is simply that they weren't as active in their middle age.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm like overly active. I mean, I think that's like all the problems that people have. I'm like, I don't have that problem. Like, where's the tiny 1% of people that are like the opposite of that? Like that's me. Like I have the other problems where I'm like, I'm gonna die before I'm 40 because I lived 2 or 3 lifetimes already. I don't sleep. Like I'm just like burned. My candle's already about out. So.
So getting older is definitely one part that makes us think different of how we do things, right? And the younger we are, the more we know we're going to die, but it's far away. The older we get, the more we start realizing that, you know, we're not going to live forever, and we start adapting some things. I don't know if you guys know the Aztecs. I know this because I grew up there. They call this the age of never, when you start like, oh, I never had hair growing out of my ears. I never had my knee paining. So, Evan, I think you're slowly entering that.
Okay. Pauline, should I help her? I'm not calling Linda, sorry. I'm not talking to you.
Okay, I found the button. So, yeah, as we get older, obviously, we think about it differently. And also, there are outlier, you know, people that just function differently. And I think, Evan, you're one of them. I think I'm one of them. I think probably many people on this call are like this, that we just, you know, are not like the average person that are affected the same in this. So
yeah, and I mean, like, I'm always wondering if like they call them like the type A personalities kind of thing, like versus. But yeah, I mean, I feel like there's something about the entrepreneurial aspect. There's definitely a lot more of people like me, but even then, it's like I'm not healthy, or I mean, like I'm balanced. I stay balanced, but like I'm not overly like fit, or like I don't like eat egg whites or anything like that. Like I just do, but I am like conscious. I'm like hyper aware and overly conscious of what's going on around me. But I don't feel like swinging my pendulum like one way or the other. I don't want to be lethargic and lazy and do nothing, and I also don't want to like go overly like. I just want to like live normally. But my living normally seems to be described as unhealthy. Like so, it's confusing for me.
Two things actually I want to share before we jump up. And if you noticed, I managed to put a fancy timer here on our school call using OBS. I did that. You asked, what do you do to, you know, get nice sleep in terms of, do you sleep on the floor, on the bed, etc.? I'm exactly the same. I can sleep anywhere, and I think it's from, I don't know, my military times where that needed to be the case, right? But what I totally underestimated is how valuable a really good bed is. And I don't know how many years I have it now. It's probably 5 years or something. Before that, I had a really crappy bed that was falling apart, and you know, my wife would get into bed and I'll bounce here, and or the cat would jump in the bed and I'll bounce on this side. And so one day we said, okay, we've had enough of that. Let's buy a proper bed. And what we did is there is this hotel chain here in the UK called Premier Inn, and every time we went to one of those hotels, we always slept like really nice. And so we said, we want to get a bed that they have. And it turns out that it's made by Hypnos. I don't know if you guys know that brand. Anyway, here in the UK, it's a very expensive brand. And at first we were like, okay, that's a bit dear. But we got that bed, and I couldn't have made a better decision. And actually, you know, it's silly not to get a comfortable bed because you spend like 1/3 of your life in that. And, this thing lasts for, I don't know how many years before you need to replace it. So if you look at it in that way, it's totally worth it paying that money. But what happened is now, first of all, that bed is huge. So I don't feel my wife next to me. It's like two separate beds. I don't feel when she gets in bed or gets out of bed, nothing moves. And the quality of, and also because it's so big, I'm not that tall, I'm 6 foot, but usually bed is not big enough. My feet are out or my head is out, right? And that bed is so big, I actually have a bed I'm sleeping on. So what I want to say is it's really worth getting a really good bed, even if you can sleep on the floor. It makes a huge difference in the quality. I first realized that when I had the comparison, right? So yeah, I wanted to share that. Get a good bed.
Totally agree with that. Yeah, I worked for Tempur-Pedic for a number of years doing their marketing, and I got super discounted bed. And yeah, like it's one of the reasons that like I think I had trouble going to sleep before, but now it's like you lay on that thing, it's like, oh, okay, as soon as you just like sink it. Yeah.
Very good. Yeah, love that.
And Premier Inn actually sell their beds. If you go to the Premier Inn website, they have links to their sales team and everything, so you can buy a Premier Inn bed.
Yeah.
Links to what Dan said. So many people have said that they have such a good night's sleep. Where can I get this bed? So they've gotten on to that.
Nice.
Yeah, that's what we did. We went on their site and found out that they sell them. And that's where we got it on. And you actually get it on a special price because of Premier Inn. So usually that same bed is more expensive. And here in the UK, I don't know if you guys have heard of that, but in places where, they have a monarchy or used to have a monarchy, they're trade people who can sell to the royals. They get a special, seal that can show, like, look, we deliver to the royals, right? We're good enough to do that. And so this Hypnos brand has that label. And so when we saw that, we're like, okay, if it's good enough for the Queen, we'll go for that one. Oh, funny. All right, guys, our time is coming up. There is one really important thing about sleep that I haven't mentioned is we get deep sleep and we get REM sleep. And deep sleep is for healing your body. REM sleep is for healing your mind. And we get about half each, but we get more deep sleep in the first half and the REM sleep in the second half. When you cut your sleep in half, it doesn't cut your deep sleep and REM sleep in half. You don't get REM sleep, is the short. And so, look into that, because it's not only our body that needs to be, well rested, it's also our mind.
Evan, you're screwed.
Mindy said the words.
Oh yeah, that's fine. I always do that. Yeah.
I'll link all of this and in the replay post and anything that comes to mind, because it really makes a big difference in your output when you get the right amount of sleep. And I've fallen behind, and so I am currently working on fixing that. The coffee has been getting out of hand for me, so that's one thing I've started. Time is running out, and everybody, last time when we tested this timer, they said it should say kaboom when it runs out. It's not.
Oh, you fixed that?
Yeah, of course. You want to see what happens?
Yeah, except right now you're still a mess of green and gray.
Yeah, that's on your end, not on ours. Sorry.
Oh, well, it's all right. If someone can get me a screenshot of the kaboom, that would be great.
It'll be on the recording. It's not a kaboom. What it is first get the flame, then work on getting the star, and then work on getting your first 10K is what that says now. Thanks for being on the call, guys. Love you all. See you next time.
Later.
Right.
Bye.
Nice seeing you.
Bye.
Bye.